Hey everybody, welcome to my booth. I'm Jay, and I'm sitting down because I feel like it. We got a sample from Dylan. We're going to give it a listen. He's brand new to this whole thing in his own words, and it's a lovely little piece from one of my favorite universes, the Halo universe. When you know it when you hear it. Before we jump in, there's a form in the description if you want to send me some of your own audio for feedback just like this. If you want to jump the queue, you can check out the Booth Buddies down below. Supports these efforts and gets you priority access to stuff like this. And then there's coaching on my website if that's more your speed. Boom. Preamble over. Let's get into the Halo universe.
So, we saved humanity again, just like we always do. We, in this case, means the Spartans. And actually, we didn't do so well this time around. Let me explain.
All right, pausing real quick because that's a great start. Really solid start, Dylan. Just going to touch on it really briefly, audio quality stuff. You can check out, you're new, so you probably know a fair amount of this stuff as you're heading into things. But you can check out the Getting Started in VoiceOver series here. It was like the first 5 videos I ever posted on this channel. So, I'm a little bit more shy and stuff like that. But that has a lot of information in it that'll help you to really amp up your audio quality overall. So I'm going to focus mainly on your performance because audio quality stuff, you can tackle that other places a little bit more cohesively and completely. In terms of performance, we've got, again, a great start here. You've got that sort of seasoned, grizzled vet attitude going on, which I really, really like. The things that I would encourage you to look into more, invest into more, explore a little bit more with, it kind of maintains through this whole sample, but just to use this first little tiny section as an example, this guy has a lot of history built into the words that he's saying and the experience that is at his back. This whole book, at essence, is a retrospective, looking back at the events that I'm about to tell you about. And so within that, we have to sort of have an idea of what those experiences felt like, what the names of the people we mention, who they are, both as individuals and in relation to us. And we have to have an opinion or points of view about those things. And right now, you're kind of starting to do that, which is great. A lot of it kind of leans on that grizzled vet thing. But let's just listen to this first little bit one more time, and I'll get more specific about different things that we could explore in that vein that I was just describing.
So, we saved humanity again.
Okay, already there's a lot of information. We saved humanity again. We understand from that this whole story is opening up into a grand epic. We're saving humanity. The scale of that is pretty large. It also starts with, so we saved humanity again, which is an interesting way to say that because it, as you perform it, I think is a interesting and cool way to sort of attack that idea, in that there's a bit of like fatigue and exasperation with it, which then we can go into the next bits.
Just like we always do.
Okay, just like we always do. Now, it's interesting here, and I'm not saying that these are necessarily right or wrong things, but the way that you're sort of leaning into it now is, like I was saying, a bit of exasperation and fatigue, just like we always do. But I'm not detecting much pride or things like that. In addition to that, let's keep going.
We, in this case, means the Spartans. And actually, we didn't do so well this time around. Let me explain.
Okay. The thing here that's kind of coming into play a little bit, it's somewhat technical in a sense where this whole thing is essentially one thought chunk where it could essentially be a singular flow, and we're putting in these somewhat large pauses that are almost a second each, which is just a little bit longer. There's no rule that says you can't have long pauses, but because this is potentially just one thought as an experiment, if we just delete these pauses, let's see how that thought chunk sounds now.
We, in this case, means the Spartans. And actually, we didn't do so well this time around. Let me explain.
So, again, that's not necessarily the right way to do it, but without those, because it's still cohesive without those pauses, it means that you can probably flow a little bit more fluidly or quickly through those things. And within that, it gives me a little bit more, this is subjective to me a little bit, but it gives me a bit more of a sense of this character knowing to an extent what they're talking about and having the experience at their back. Again, I'm not saying that the pauses directly correlate to that, but in this specific instance with this specific sentence, by removing those pauses, I get a sense like, and we in this case means the Spartans. And we didn't do very well in this time around. Let me explain what I mean. So, for whatever that's worth, let me know if any questions pop up about that kind of thing for you, Dylan, or anybody else.
Spent most of my military career leading a group of yahoos known as Alpha 9. We started out as
So this Alpha 9 right now, I do think that it's good that you leave us a little bit of space afterwards to process, okay, Alpha 9. This is a name drop. This is a concept that's important for us to understand and remember, which is something you can do in any narration whenever a word, a phrase, or a series of sentences come up with a bunch of information that's important. It's helpful for the listener to have a second to digest that information so they can catch up in their mind and process what is being said. And you're doing that well here. However, the way that Alpha 9 is being said, I don't get a lot of emotional context about how this character, this narrator feels about Alpha 9. Now, we have a group of yahoos named Alpha 9. Most of my military career was spent with these people. And what am I trying to say? In this instance, right now, I don't know, it's tough to say. Whenever you're looking back retrospectively at something, you can have somewhat of a choice here. And because I don't know the context of the full story in this particular instance, it could be that everybody in Alpha 9 is now dead because we know that it didn't go this time around when we were saving humanity. And there can be sadness or mourning or grief attached to that. However, there's a concept called delaying the payout. What's it called? Anyway, the point is you wanna delay the event. That's what it is. Delay the event as much as possible. And the event in this case would be the demise of Alpha 9 or something like that, at least in the way that I'm imagining this story unfolding. So right now, the way that Alpha 9 is delivered,
known as Alpha 9,
it sounds like you're either sad about it, you're just delivering information with no emotional attachment to it, both of which could be true. But the fact that we have this fun little, I spent most of my military career with a bunch of yahoos known as Alpha 9. And that's not a line reading. Don't take what I just did and copy paste it. But all I'm saying here is there's a lot of things that we can pack into how we talk about and imagine our friends and comrades in Alpha 9 that we've spent most of our career with in how we say their name and talk about them. So that kind of holds true for a lot of what I would say for the rest of it. Is allowing yourself to have more of an opinion and more of a point of view about the people that you're mentioning and the events that you're talking about. Let's keep going.
We started out as a squad of orbital drop shock troopers, but each of us...
They're orbital drop shock troopers.
We started out as a squad of orbital drop shock troopers, but each of us eventually traded up from being ODSTs to full-on Spartans instead.
So yeah, this is a lot of information to take on because I know the Halo universe, I know what you're talking about, but similar to the way we say, I've spent most of my career with Alpha 9. We spent most of our time as orbital drop shock troopers. That's a big jumble of words that we don't really know, and this is the first time we're introducing it, so it's helpful if you give us a little bit of space, like if you're explaining it to somebody who doesn't know necessarily what those are. Because in the military, generally, they'll have acronyms for things, ODSTs. So in the current military, they may be like, I can't think of one at the moment, but they'll say like, we've got the ROTC guys over there. What are the ROTC guys? And I can't remember the acronym, what it means right now, but if they list off what those letters are, and then you can say that later. Additionally, the attachment to, and then we became Spartans. There's a whole journey here. We started out as these guys, and we did that for a while, and then we became this. And you're kind of going there, but the thing that's lacking for me, again, is there's a difference in the way that one describes one's experience in things and the way one just sort of reports information emotionlessly. And even though the characters in the Halo universe generally tend towards very mission-driven, very emotionless, very stoic, it's helpful for us as listeners to get a little bit of that information. Let's keep going a little bit.
And yeah, that didn't always go so well either. But that's a whole nother story.
And this bit, same thing, having in your mind's eye, like, and yeah, that didn't always go so well either, but that's another story. What didn't go very well? Like, do you have scars that you're thinking about as you say that? Did some of these people end up passing in the line of duty in those instances? Those kind of things can be helpful to bear in mind as well.
After Alpha 9 broke up, I decided I was done leading things for a while. Wasn't like I was against doing it, but man, I needed a break.
That's a good instance of having, it's not that I didn't want to, I just needed a break. I like the emotional content there, and that comes through. You're really letting that push to the forefront more. And that sort of emotional attachment where it's just, man, I really needed a break. That sort of, because we all understand what that feels like. So we all understand what it feels like to need a break. So that's easy for us to attach a personal experience to. However, being an ODST or a Spartan and saving humanity, those things take a little bit of an imaginative leap, and those are the things that you can help me with. So maybe that's the best way to describe what my general note for this would be. Have a bit more in mind of what that human experience is for those different instances and experiences, and roll with them a little bit more. I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for sending this, Dylan. Let me know which book this is as well, because I only read a couple way back when, but as soon as I heard you start talking, I was like, I know where this is from. Anyway, until the next one of these, everybody, be well, and I'll see you there. Toodles.